Go.
Good morning, Teddy. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning. Greetings and salutations. My good friend, Guillermo is here, Tony's at the camera, and myself, Teddy Tarr, one of your neighborhood psychologists. So, be sure and check out my website. You know, I've done other
Several
work
ones, huh?
before, yeah, and we've done like, I think this is our fifth one, or sixth one. So check out the website for handouts. And before we look at the tale of Pinocchio and singing our own song, I wanted to mention first of all, on the website, I did some trees. I made a tree form, and that's my own. That's my own conceptualization of how I see us as human beings. I just wanted to mention that, and you can download those. You're welcome to use anything I put up on the website. Okay, Guillermo, did you watch any of the TV and what was going on this weekend?
Yes, I watched a couple of days. Unfortunately, this situation happened. I don't think it was the right thing to do for the cop to do that. But at the same time, peaceful protesting is what America is all about. It's the sad part is that in between those peaceful protesting, there are other type of people that will cause the problems and bring everything for what it's not supposed to be. And looting and burning and destroying property. And a lot of times they destroy properties where their own neighborhoods and their own people work. And it's a sad thing to see. I mean, protesting is in a peaceful manner I think is our right, but burning and looting and destroying property is not the right thing to do either. So we had 2 or 3 days of really tough for this country.
Not only here, all over the
All
world.
over the world.
Other people were protesting as well and worried about America. They actually,
Because most of the world look at us
yes.
as an example of how capitalism and democracy works. And unfortunately, we're showing the world the ugly side of the coin.
Absolutely. I took some notes on what I wanted to say today about it. I wanted to respond to the world we're now trying to navigate in, because it includes the death of innocents, in this case, racially motivated losses. But we're still in this pandemic. People are still dying, not only here, but all over the world. And a lot of our folks are from different places and are not only worried about the people here and the people they have relationships with, but also people in other countries. And Brazil and Argentina and
Ecuador.
Chile, Ecuador also, not to mention England and some of the countries. I know some of them are opening up. And it's horrifying to watch the news today. And the wheels of justice, they've always ground to a halt on cases, but right now, it's hard to remember that there are legal processes. Perhaps most of us, including me, I'm not an attorney, do not really understand why it takes so long, not for the man who was the officer that was involved, but the other people. Also, we have to remember right now, there are lots of fears. There are lots of fears, there are lots of anger, there's a lot of negative emotions going on. So this didn't just happen in a calm time. I'm not saying it would have made a whole lot of difference, but it would have made a difference. And others right now distracted, the people who are looting and such also have issues. Yeah, they have issues. If they didn't, have issues, they wouldn't be looting. And they may be trying to make a statement politically, and on the other hand, they may just feel entitled to take the things. And as I understand it, many of those were from black-owned places that they were taking.
That's the sad part.
That is sad, burning and looting and so on. Right now, we're all sort of in a pressure cooker of some sort. And there are fires everywhere. It's not one place, it's all places. So trying to restore order is a challenge to those in authority. A lot of anger, depression, fears, They've infected our society for a long time. There certainly is racial hate. It's not just racial, it's racial hate. And being able to unmask some of that inequality as we move forward is not going to be an easy thing to do. We have layers of that in different places, different amounts. And we know it's never enough to be neutral. You know, I remember FDR and World War II, and America did not want to go to war, and FDR was sending planes, sending ammunition, trading off space in order for landings. It took Pearl Harbor to get us into a war. So it's not, we can't just be neutral on this, so it's important to try to do what we can do, not only politically, but with our finances to support some of these causes. I want to talk about the true self and the false self that we are struggling with in this country and in many places. There's lots of different ways to see things. And the needs of the real self. I'd like you to take a look, if you get a chance, take a look at, Judith Bioris wrote a book called Necessary Losses. And it's an excellent little book on how we come into this world, and we struggle with losses our whole lives. And Masterson also wrote a lot about the needs of the healthy self. And I just wanted to read these off. A sense of being loved. It's not without a price that we have to become our own grown-up. And we realize our parents are fallible. They're FHB, fallible human beings. We're fallible. So we also learn that separateness comes at a price. And that we're born early on and we struggle to be free. We struggle our whole lives not to be attached to someone. And we try to acquire clarity at adolescence. Well, today, I think adolescents are very, very smart, but they're not necessarily emotionally finished. We know that their frontal lobes aren't finished until they're almost 26. So, and this whole world right now has put many of them upside down. They're struggling with high school, they're struggling online, they're struggling with a lot of things. So, and also some of them have relationships. They haven't been able to see those folks. The college kids is the same thing. What are the signs of the false self emerging? Because if we don't grow a true self that can handle losses, handle bereavement, handle these changes in the times, we can have a false self. And this false self hides the nature of our problems and the truth about ourselves. You know, there are many people, the problem now is with the looting and such, that the focus is on the looting. Well, the focus shouldn't be on the looting. That just happens to be, I hope, a small group. I hope a small group everywhere, lighting fires and destroying. The focus needs to be on the marching. Thank God we live in a country where we can even march and that we can protest. That's how things get done. Assume a defensive posture. I think that's one of the biggest problems. We can be very defensive of how we feel, very aggressive towards others who feel differently, and we remain fearful the truth will emerge in the real self, or others will discover we're empty. We don't have any opinions. We don't care, whatever it is. So I think this is a real test. We're in a real test now. We were in a test before, I thought. Now we've got the financial concerns, the pandemic. We now have many of our cities having looting, burning. But worst of all, that we would have to march. And I've been watching some of the ideas of, reforms with police. They've come a long way. A lot of police are well known in the community. They have come a long way from when I was a child. So I think we need to recognize that most officers are like everyone else. They just want the same things. You're always going to have someone who steps out of line, or some people who step out of line.
Or a group of people.
Yeah. So I think I just wanted to start us out with that today. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that we need to be calm. I think we have a lot of things going on at one time.
At one time.
We have the pandemic, we have people that are not back to work yet, we have riots, we have looting, And we have always come through as a society when we put ourselves together and try to help each other.
Absolutely.
And that's what it has to happen. I mean, we need to understand that this will pass, but we need to get better at what we do.
I do feel that a lot of times the criticism for our leadership, not everybody is real empathetic. Not everybody is real social. Not everybody is real analytical. I think this is the time to try and heal some of our wounds and work together as a nation, especially when this is going on. This is a tough one. People are dying, right and left here from this horrible thing until we get a vaccine. Okay, how about, would you like to read the story of Pinocchio?
The story of Pinocchio. Well, Teddy did a great job putting all this together for me, like she always does. So this time I'm going to have to read because this story is a little more complicated than the last 5 or 6 sessions we had in the past. So here's the story of Pinocchio, which she did such a great job.
Thank you.
He was a block of wood, hand-carved into a wooden boy, brought to life by the Blue Fairy. His father actually wanted him to be a real boy. The Blue Fairy wanted the boy to choose between right and wrong. And the boy was concerned, so the Blue Fairy gave him a conscience. Key word in this story, conscious. An inner small voice we did not always listen to, but the Blue Fairy gave him an external conscience. His name was Jimmy the Cricket. Not that there was no clear set of guidelines to become a boy, one had to follow a set of rules. No lies, be brave, be truthful, be unselfish, and to be able to choose from right and wrong.
That was the Blue Fairy handbook.
He was a wooden boy and had to earn being real. So, a sly fox and a cat took Pinocchio and sold him to a Mr. Stromboli, who thought to profit from him as a sideshow. They tried to convince him he was going to be a famous actor. They caged him after the show to make sure he didn't run off. Jimmy the Cricket tried to free him without success. Entered the Blue Fairy again. And he lied to her. He said he was brought against his will and was going to be eaten. The nose began to grow, so the Blue Fairy called him out on it. One more time. You're lying, plain as the nose on your face. One more chance. She freed him. Did he learn his lesson? No. And a sly fox named Foul Fellow seduced Pinocchio, said you don't have to go to school. Forget the Blue Fairy. And what she said, come with me to Pleasure Island. Jimmy the Cricket
by the way, no relationship to Florida.
No. So at that time, Jimmy the Cricket says, don't listen. Of course he listened to the fox. Foul Fellow sold him to the stagecoach driver of Pleasure Island. Oh, the driver was a real pro at lying. No worries on Pleasure Island. No concern with right or wrong. No having to listen to anyone. As he arrived, Pleasure Island, he forgot the Blue Fairy. Did you go to school? You don't lie. You listen to your conscience. Forget all of this, and he forgot everything that he was taught by the Blue Fairy. And he arrived at Pleasure Island.
Wait a minute. I want to mention that sometimes there's been research that the kids who don't do anything during the summer of play, by the time they get to fall, they also don't listen, and they have learned nothing that is taken from the summertime. So it's important to structure that summer with a few books.
A few books and instructions and learning.
Yeah, learning.
Well, on the way there, he fought with the other boys. Smoked, screamed, tossed rocks through windows. A friend was turned into a donkey. He figured that was going to be his fate. He knew the donkey were former children that the driver wore out. Entered Jimmy the Cricket. He jumped with Pinocchio off a cliff into the sea to escape. Then returned to his home with his father, Geppetto's, his carver. But he was gone, out looking for the boy, his boy. And as luck will have it, he was swallowed by a whale and trapped inside. So Jimmy and Pinocchio jumped back into the sea and spotted the sleeping whale. And the whale woke up and swallowed Pinocchio, who told his father he was a bad boy. He actually acknowledged he was a bad boy. He apologized. The father offered forgiveness. They built a fire inside the well and flew out onto a raft.
I think we need to say, please, none of you try this. This is just a story. I don't want anybody going home and jumping in. Okay.
Which the whale destroyed the raft, and the father began to sink, and cried out to his son, "Save yourself!" But Pinocchio swam back, helped his father to safety. Pinocchio's body was lifeless over the rocks. And this is Disney, so enter the blue fairy again. When she says Disney, it's because this is a Disney story.
Yes.
Enter Disney, and because of his own selfish behavior, became a real boy.
Wow. Maybe this was a fast growth, but the story has a lot of merit. That we don't always listen to that little voice inside that tells us what's right, what's wrong, what we should do. Trying to go online, a lot of the kids are having trouble, just even if it's 9:30 in the morning, because that isn't the structure they've been used to, trying to get online in order to listen to a class. And also, I know every parent that's out there has heard it one time. They said, "Do you have any homework?" "No, I don't have any homework. I can go and play on my..." Yeah, right. Okay, I also pulled a story that, just a teensy-weensy short story, and I thought maybe you'd read this too, because these two come together.
Okay, so the second story, again, Teddy, that's got everything done for me, is a story of an old Cherokee and his grandson about battle that goes on inside people. One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, "My son, the battle is between two wolves. One is evil. It is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf wins?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed."
So, yes, what does that look like?
That is a really good one. You know, if you feed good, you eat good.
Yeah. Okay, I think in part, what I see a lot of today is self-righteousness. You know, people who are very OCD, obsessive compulsive, they rarely make any mistakes. They don't make mistakes. So what happens is they're very judgmental with others, and judgmental is a sin. So those folks have a lot of gifts. They've gotten the gifts of being able to structure their lives. The gifts maybe of being motivated. They're early risers, or they stay late at the office at night and they get things done. Highly productive, but very judgmental. How easy it is to be that way and think that because you're so perfect that you can judge others. But that is in itself not a good thing. And I think what I liked about the story as much as anything else was the forgiving father. That the grandfather, the father was willing to have him come home. And the same thing with the grandfather that's telling the story about the wolves. Recognizing that it's not like you don't have these human and not so human parts inside of us. That's why we're supposed to be listening sometimes to people who have wisdom to be able to accept help. That's not so easy to do. So thank you for reading both those stories. I know that was a lot.
You put it together so good. So
okay, that was good. Okay, leaders are human, vulnerable to mistakes, even more vulnerable to scrutiny. I can't imagine wanting to become a particular office holder and then find that there's nothing you can do, that somebody isn't taking you on. The story has several lessons about choices from within, adhering to your own music, singing your own song, being able to stand up to your own beliefs. I think that's all important, in spite of danger, but also willing to be able to listen to others, and if you make a mistake, how do you correct it? How do you go to the place you need to go and say, "I'm sorry"? The villains pulling Pinocchio off course. Recognize someone who's offering you drugs or offering you another way that isn't your way to go. You know, many of the kids today, one of the biggest problems I've seen, they'll get a job. There's so many jobs, there were so many jobs out there. They get a job, and then they didn't get up. Maybe they went out to a party. Maybe they had that job for 4 months. They'd go to a party, they'd sleep in the next day, because they could get another job. Well, I don't think those days are gonna be, do you?
No.
That we're gonna have that many jobs sitting there?
No.
And you talked about that last time
Last
in the
time we
video.
talked about that.
Yeah, that if you, you know,
If you can-
forget unemployment, right?
If you can find a job now, don't wait until the unemployment runs out. Get the job and start working, because it's not gonna be that easy to find work.
No. And fame, fortune, you can, being able to make something quickly and easily, I'll always be a little skeptical, and because you can easily be taken astray. I have this handout, I put it on the website, it's on control, being too much in control, and being out of control. I know we don't think about that too much, that you can be too much in control. Do you want to read this one?
Sure. In control, too responsible for others, behaviors, living up to the code, feelings, competence, fear, false pride, anger, beliefs, I must be perfect, I cannot say no, doing good makes me feel good.
Okay, now read the out of control, and then we'll go to the balance.
Out of control, responsible for nothing, blame and excuses everything. And balance, beliefs, feelings, behaviors. Beliefs, I am no good. Feelings, shame, anger, self-hatred, depressions, anxiety. Behaviors, under-responsible behavior.
Okay, so in order to have the balance, I always loved Kenny Rogers' song. He just recently died. I'm going to miss him. Him and Dolly Parton sang that last duet together. I'm sorry, I got off track, didn't I?
No?
But I love that song, The Gambler. You know, you need to know when to hold up, when to fold up, when to walk away, and when to run. I think that is exactly what it is about balance. Trying to decide how much of me I can give. I always tell people, don't start something you're not willing to keep doing, because nobody appreciates you for what you do. They only get angry with you because you've stopped. So if you're going to do something and it's going to be long term, think ahead about what kind of relationship you're beginning, and make sure that's the relationship you want. In general, there's little appreciation if you do everything for someone. There's more appreciation if you help them. What was that old thing about the fishing, you know, giving someone fish and teaching them how to fish?
Other fish, yes.
Something like that.
That's the
Okay.
story of that.
Yeah. Okay, so what are the lessons from Pinocchio? Well, one, wishing seldom makes it so, but sometimes it can happen. Sometimes you can dream about something, and something will just happen. Sometimes it will happen. Usually it takes hard work and results in fulfilled dreams. Instant results can often be disappointing. If we don't have to work very hard for something, I just thought of something. Going out and buying a dress impulsively, thinking I really love it, then it hangs in my closet with a tag on it for the next 10 years. I mean, that can happen to you. So sometimes not thinking through something isn't such a good idea. Campbell soup approach can be shifting sand. Campbell soup, instant. Trying to have something instant, you know, off the cuff, right away, right this minute. I can be guilty of that sometimes. Hard work is often a better choice. Also, including thoughts and feelings in decision making, but operate out of your value system. Here's your value system. It is the least likely thing to get hit. You've developed it over a period of time. You've had it from school, from others, morally, ethically, it doesn't matter where it's come from. This is your value system. Feelings and thoughts are, over time, over your history, hit pretty hard. So they're not always an accurate way of making a decision. Advice from folks that love you does count. It counts more than impulsive actions. Because people who love you sometimes can see things you can't see. So I think it's important to think about that. If you hear a voice inside you that says no, oh my goodness, Do not avoid or ignore that voice. Listen to it. Be sure and repent from your mistakes. Change your ways. Share with those you have hurt. Make amends whenever possible. All right, Guillermo, you've got the resilient folks. What are they like?
Okay, I want to add something to your last story here.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that sometimes we try to, the best thing to do is when you work hard and you earn what you work for, you feel so much better.
Ooh.
Sometimes when things are too easy and it seems like somebody approached you for a job that it might be, doesn't take too much work, it's too easy, makes too much money, watch it, because that might not be the right job for you. In life, you have to work hard and earn it, because what you earn is what you respect better for yourself.
And the money, you know, money isn't always enough. You know, sometimes it takes appreciation. We all want to be noticed or appreciated. You know, every time anybody comes in here, Guillermo, I think I've told you, you know, they all go to the door and they bow and say, "Oh, great Bawana, I'm so glad to be here." Are you kidding me? Many of the kids walk in and say, "I hate it here. I hate it here. I'd much rather be home. How come I have to come to you?" And I always say the same thing. I'll have to schedule 2 appointments instead of 1 a week. 2 appointments? I don't want to come to the one. Why do I have to come twice? Well, first we have to deal with why you hate me, and then we'll deal with what the problem is. Okay.
Okay, resilient. We talked about that, I think, last time.
Yes, we did.
And resilient, have a well-developed sense of self-efficacy. I can do it. Many pathways of resiliency. You can make changes at any time of your life. Self-efficacy is found in resilient folks. I can do it. The little engine that could, following the right people. Chicken Little. Not challenging or following a poor example. Playing a poor hand well by working on those areas that you identify as need to improve. And that's key. We all have our strength and we all have our weaknesses.
Absolutely.
We work on our strength, we also have to work on our weaknesses to be able to improve ourselves.
Two things I always talk about, at least with my clients. When did this happen? A lot of times they're holding guilt from 25, 30 years ago. You know, isn't it time that you leave it here? Give me the whip. Let me have the whip, and I'll destroy it. And the other thing is, when you made that decision, did you know as much as you know today? That self gains wisdom over time and over mistakes.
Use your resources. Easy to become addicted to things that you do not help you grow as a person and only entertain you for a short time. Incorporate both in your life. Self-efficacy, from the last video and Pinocchio, easily influenced by slick talk and no walk.
I hate to say that, but some people are really good at selling the Brooklyn Bridge. They're just really, well, right now the Brooklyn Bridge might not be an example. It's been shut down, I think. I don't know if it's reopened or not. If Governor Cuomo has gotten to it. Probably one word fits it all right now. It's called adaptability right now. It's how to adapt to what we're struggling with and to handle our feelings. All feelings, all these things, the virus, the discord, the financial plight, all are losses. They're losses on some level, and some of us, for some of us, more than for others. Just don't minimize. If somebody seems very devastated, don't minimize their loss. Have empathy and be able to co-journey with somebody and not be judging the amount of energy they're giving something to. You know, if it's about you, it's funny, it's real important. If it's about somebody else, it looks very unimportant. We all want what was. What's gone. My grandmother lived to be 86, and one thing I loved about her was she never talked about the good old days. She was always into the good old day, what she was doing, what she was making today. So non-judgmental, be sure and seek support. More active listening. There's no such thing as healing mouths. They're only healing ears. Seek information. Critical spirits need a host. Close them out. Don't give them one. And empathy is being able to co-journey with others and see their points of view. Appreciate, we live in a country where protests peacefully are legal. and a right shared by all of us. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think we are coming into a very interesting week. I think this week will tell us a lot about our country, how we can overcome the pandemic, which we're working on. How can we overcome the racial division, which is a work in progress and will always be.
We shall overcome. That was our march.
We shall overcome. And I think the more we realize that we're all in this together, and the more that we can protest peacefully, the more our directives for the people that are governing will realize, because when you protest peacefully, it sends a better message than when you burn things, because they don't take you for serious. They think that you're looting and you're stealing. So that is not the point of what
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction of what reality is.
Yeah.
And I think we need to stick to reality.
And I think, I don't know about anyone else, but I mean, I changed one channel. I went from burning to the virus to the financial devastation. I said to myself, Perry Mason looks pretty good right now. You know, even Jurassic Park and the dinosaurs, you know when you open that door, nothing's going to eat you. So.
But we're a strong nation.
We're very strong.
We'll survive. We'll get better.
Together.
We'll get better, and we'll get better together.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you for tuning in again today, and I hope to do with Guillermo and Tony. I'd like to do something on bereavement next time, and on the losses. And if someone has something else, you can always that you're interested in, you can always send a message to my email. It's on my website.
Thank you for preparing me so well today.
You're welcome.